And a TV presenter, a sporting legend and an entrepreneur who started in business at the age of 11 are amongst those spearheading a new campaign to tackle the skill shortage here in the southwest. Plymouth City College has recruited a series of big names to front its new Skilfully Speaking podcast. It's hoping young people will learn from their life experiences and be encouraged to study to work in industries that are struggling to recruit. But where exactly are the skill shortages here in Devon? I've been talking to Jackie Grubb, Plymouth College's chief exec.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question, actually, Caroline, because actually the word skills is just really oversimplified. What one person thinks that skills means, another thinks very, very differently. But in terms of skills gap, what it actually means is that in those occupations or those jobs, what are the gaps in the jobs? So what is the demand and what are the jobs, the high value jobs that need to be filled? But also there's a caveat to that also, because it's about developing the skills for the skills gap. So there's two ends to it. So there's the skills gap of that there are jobs, but there aren't people qualified or developed to go into the jobs. But there's also the demand of the employer that needs a certain job to fulfill the skills gap.
In particular, what kind of jobs?
We do a lot of work in terms of looking at labour market intelligence of what the jobs are out there. And this is national, but in particular to Plymouth and the South West. Plymouth is very high in manufacturing. So, our engineers, which include manufacturing, marine, but also on the side of that, we have the fifth biggest hospital in Europe. And in terms of vacancies at the hospital, there is a lot of jobs there also. But it's not just health jobs, actually. If you think of a large hospital, you need your carpenters, you need your plumbers, you need your HR people, you need project managers. So there is a focus on health and advanced manufacturing and marine, but also there are all those jobs that you need to run an organisation at the same time.
Some people might say that people simply don't want to pursue those careers. Is that part of the problem?
I think that career guidance is pretty good, but we're always doing more work to enhance that. And at the college, we have just launched something that's called Carers, which is an employer route map or a skills route map. And what we've devised is a route map from primary school right into higher education, which then feeds into jobs. So what we're actually doing is realising aspirations from a very, very early age in the area so that people have aspirations to get into those jobs, because at the moment, there isn't always an aspiration to get into the jobs, because we find that with the research and the data that in Plymouth in particular, most people are only qualified to a level 2, where most of the jobs out there are for level 3 and above. So we have a civic responsibility of supporting everybody from any age, from any background, to develop their full potential into those jobs that are available.
And I've got 2 Plymouth City College students with us as well. Josh, if I could start with you, tell me what you're doing. What's your course?
So doing sports therapy and injury rehabilitation, foundation degree. So it's basically like a starting degree to look into basically sports therapy, which helps towards rehabilitating athletes from injuries and helping with different things like sports massage, looking into different kinds of nerve systems, anatomy, physiology. But it isn't just sports athletes as well. It's members of the public who can benefit from it.
Why have you decided to do this now?
So I've gone out, I played rugby when I was younger, suffered a lot of injuries, and there wasn't really anybody out there who could help with the injuries to that extent of having to wait for NHS physios. Finding out about sports therapy and understanding what it can do, I felt it'd be beneficial if I learned from that area to go and be the person in that place that I couldn't find from my injuries previously.
How's it going for you? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, so far so good, yeah. And surprisingly for me, I do enjoy this course, yeah. And I think it's partly because it's a lot of like practical stuff with it, which really makes it like you gain more experience, more knowledge with the hands-on practice. It's really good, yeah.
What are you hoping when you finish the course to go on and do?
So I would love to open my own clinic. I'm a personal trainer at the moment. So I choose this course to be able just to provide better service to people, just to be more all-rounded, just be more available to people. And also I think it's going to help me with my personal training because of the anatomy part and all the nerves and all the injury prevention stuff as well, which is great. So that's why I chose it. And like I said, I would like to just open my own clinic in some time when I finish this year.
You're going to be in competition, Josh?
I'll try.
It sounds like a brilliant course. And back to you, Jackie, if I can. Tell me about this podcast that you guys are doing at the City College. What's this all about?
So the podcast is all about learning new skills and taking new opportunities that can unlock a world of potential. And what it is it's quite high-profile people that talk about their real-life journeys and their compelling stories and the skills that they've had to acquire on the way to get where they've got to. And one of those people is Dame Kelly Holmes, and her podcast came out a couple of weeks ago. And my goodness, her story from, her first job in a sweet shop, and then she talked about her winning her gold medals, and then she talked about the skills that she needed for her charities. And something that really stayed with me was that she said that when she was really high profile and she started her charities, she had to be on her board, and to be on a board with a chair and at that real high level end of a business, she never had the skills to do that, and talked about how she acquired those skills. So right from the end of starting off at a very young age through to her career trajectory and how new skills were needed for every aspect of her life journey.
And you guys, you've been really inspired by this, haven't you, as sports therapy students? What have you made of it?
Well, I was saying earlier, listening to it, it's inspirational in the sense that you're instilling your own mindset anyway. So that whole get up and go and wanting to get to a target that you want to get to was literally how her mindset is. And listening to it made me think, I'm doing the right thing, what's right, and the right path I'm going down. And it's just making sure not to, when you get knocked down, you have got to get back up again.
For me, it was maybe a bit cliche, but it was just that following your passion, but at the same time, just being patient and persistent with it, because as we heard in the podcast, it took Dame Kelly Holmes, she said 20 years to get the dream of her life, which is the gold Olympic medal. So it just shows that, it just takes time, but if you really want to do it, and it just doesn't have to be sport, if you want to open your own business, if you want to be artist, musician, whatever your high dream is, you can achieve it if you're just going to stick with it.
Jackie Grubb, Plymouth College's chief exec, and two of her students there. Thanks so much for their time. And if you'd like to find the podcast, just search for Skilfully Speaking online or wherever you get your podcasts.